Hello, welcome to natemareflix. I am Nate, you are you, and today I'm going to present to you the 10 horror movie masks I think are the worst horror movie masks of all of horror history. That is right, we're coming out of the gate swinging. We're going to take these things down a peg, either because they are downright ridiculous and goofy looking, maybe they're offensive to iconic horror figures, or maybe they're just not scary, and I can't imagine how they could be scary to anyone, anywhere, at any time. But I want from you is to please go down in the comment section and let me know what horror movie mask do you think is the worst of all time. And then don't get afraid to be controversial. Go ahead and take down some of the big boys. I didn't include Jason Voorhees on my top 10 horror movie mask of all time. That's what I'm talking about. Be bold, be brave, and we will talk about your opinions down there. And then of course, please subscribe. We're so close to 500, which means we're halfway to that big 1,000 subscriber mark. And that would mean so much to me and my channel. We try to do fun things like this list, content that you probably don't get elsewhere because everyone else tends to do the same type of list, same types of rankings, same types of reviews over and over again. Let's dare to be different. So please subscribe so we can keep this thing going. But here we go. These are my 10 least favorite, the 10 worst horror movie masks of all time. Number 10 is the babyface killer mask from Happy Death Day. And when I saw Happy Death Day, I actually knew nothing about it. I'd somehow been able to dodge any sort of trailer, any sort of marketing for this thing. I was just at dinner one night with my parents, and we were like, you know, we haven't watched a movie together in a very long time. What is playing near us? And that's what I Googled. And I was like, what's Happy Death Day? I looked at it and I was like, a slasher movie? We don't get a lot of those anymore. Let's go check this bad boy out. And I had a lot of fun from the word go. But then the killer emerges and he's just wearing a black hoodie with a cartoonish baby mask on. What is that? What are we doing? Who thought this up? And yes, in a way, it does fit the universe it is a part of. It is zany, it's left of center, and it's different. It's fun, but it's not menacing, it's not scary, and it's just too far left of center because even in a sort of comedic slasher film, you're like, man, ain't no college anywhere naming their mascot the Babies. Number 9 is the Peach Fuzz mask from Creep, and this one is much like the babyface mask from Happy Death Day in that it does actually kind of fit and it does work in line with the person donning the mask. You look at this killer and his personality, how just a little bit cringy he is as a human being. That being said, it doesn't work as a bit of promotional materials, and I am testament to that because I was intrigued by the name Creep and when I read the description. But when I was between this movie and something else on Netflix, when this first hit Netflix, I would pull the movie up and it would show me this god-awful wolf mask, and I was like, what is that? I don't know enough about this movie to like look past it. I'm just seeing this garish, horrendously cheap looking wolf mask, and I'm like, they have better at Party City every year for like 20 bucks. You couldn't get a better mask? Where's the investment? What are we doing here? And so once you actually get into the movie, you understand that you don't have to be too bothered with the mask. But if that's all you had to go off of, you're probably just going. You're not going to sit down and partake in the movie, and that makes it a real bad mask. Number 8 is Kenny Hampson's mask from Terror Train, and maybe this is a controversial take because Terror Train is a beloved slasher film in the horror community, but this mask has just never worked for me. It's not scary in the least. It's funny, if anything, because this looks like Groucho Marx and Eugene Levy had a baby, and I'm just not afraid of their love child. I look at Eugene Levy and I'm like, he's a goober. He's the fun every dad, the nerdy dad. You're not afraid of Eugene Levy. You're not afraid of Groucho Marx. I'm definitely not afraid of their sideshow freak show kid. It doesn't work for me. If I saw this guy in an alley or in my apartment in the middle of the night, I'd be like, you know what? I may get some scars, but I'm gonna live. Number 7 is the mask from the original Prom Night, and it just doesn't get much more bare bones and lazy than this. When you think of someone breaking into your home, what type of mask might they be wearing? You probably picture just a generic ski mask with holes cut out, almost like what someone would wear to go rob a 7-Eleven. I want something a little bit more daring and bigger concept than that in my horror movies, but you don't get that with the first Prom Night. This mask is just lacking. It's lazy, it's not scary, and this killer needed a good mask because he doesn't have fun, thrilling kills. He doesn't have a high concept behind him. He just is bare bones himself. The movie's rudimentary, and the mask is very lackluster to go along with that. 6 is the mask from Cry Wolf, and see everything I just said about Prom Night and then apply it to Cry Wolf because they didn't learn any lessons from Prom Night. They went back to the drawing board and they're like, you know what? I'm thinking ski mask, but we got to make it different. I'm thinking orange ski mask. Nope, still doesn't work. Number 5 is the mask from Hellfest. And this mask, it makes sense that it belongs to Hellfest because it's a missed opportunity. Hellfest could have been incredible. It could have been a new fun slasher that instantly thrilled the horror community and became an all-time great. When you look at the setting, you look at the work done on the set design, you look at the lighting, the killer just was lame. The kills were lame. The thing was too tame. It just lacked the proper flourish. When you look at the mask, that's what you get. It's just kind of like a wood plank, this blank expression. And they do that right when you look at Michael Myers. And so they probably thought, everyone's always talking about Michael Myers, it's so great because it's this blank slate. You can just kind of portray whatever you want and just throw it on that mask. Whatever you're afraid of, and it works. But it doesn't work for this boring wooden plank of a mask. The only thing it has working for it is that there's not a whole lot of symmetry. So I guess maybe they're thinking, well, if one eye's a little droopy, maybe in your mind you're like, oh, that's unsettling. That's not quite right. But instead you're just like, that's derpy. And in the wrong light, the mask, it's just obscured. It just looks dark. You don't see anything, and it's not scary. Number 4 is the mask from the Abominable Dr. Phibbs. Now, disclaimer, I have never even seen this movie. I've never heard anybody talk about this movie, but when I was researching horror masks, I saw this one on a list and I was like, what is that? Is that a chameleon? Is there a chameleon killer? Why is it so big? This thing is like bobbleheaded proportions. Well, one, he's not a chameleon. This is supposed to be a frog since Dr. Phibbs, like I'm guessing amphibian. How are you gonna be afraid of a giant frog-headed man? I'm just gonna push you over. Your head, it weighs too much, it's disproportionate to your body. You're gonna topple over. And then if you approach me, you better be holding the knife front and center. Otherwise, I'm just gonna be like, oh, sorry, man, the furry convention is that away. Number 3 is the Cupid mask from Valentine. And you remember how I wasn't afraid of the baby mask from Happy Death Day? Well, it's more of the same here. We got another freaking baby mask, except this time it's like a little angelic baby. He's a cherub. Who's afraid of cherubs? I don't know. They're just little fat pudgy babies. And this one's supposed to be like Cupid himself. It's Valentine's Day. I'm not afraid of Valentine's Day. I'm not afraid of cherubs. I'm not afraid of Cupid. The mask is goofy looking. It looks like somebody who would put their baby up for the Gerber baby audition and they'd be like, hard pass. You might want to take that to the Great Value baby food. Not scared. Number 2, the runner-up for worst horror movie mask of all time. It is Leatherface's mask and Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. And if you saw my list of best masks, you know Leatherface is highly regarded in my opinion. So this mask, it's just that much more insulting. It just shows you that the people behind The Next Generation, they just didn't understand the intellectual property they were working with because they don't really nail any of the larger looming themes of the first film. They don't establish the same atmosphere. It's not a scary film, and Leatherface is not imposing in the least because he's in like full on drag, but it's like distasteful, comical, weird drag. It's like gag out humor, but nobody's laughing. It's just such a weird misfire of a film. The Mask is a complete misfire. It's a smack in the face of the predecessor and all the loyal fans that do love Leatherface when he is done correctly. And it's part of why this franchise keeps getting rebooted and restarted over and over again because they keep doing dumb stuff like this. Number 1, it's all the masks used in Halloween H2O. And if you saw my other list, and if you haven't, then spoiler alert, Michael Myers mask, the shape, the boogeyman, that's my favorite mask of all time. I think it's the most iconic in all of horror. Yes, Jason Voorhees is up there, but my pick would be Michael Myers. So how do you get that wrong? And how does it keep happening in these sequels? I could have chosen from a litany of different Halloween films that just absolutely destroy the Michael Myers mask with what they did, what their design was. But I'm going with H2O because they don't use just one mask. They use multiple masks and they're all bad. The portrayal of Michael here doesn't work. The guy that played him walks around pigeon-footed. He based himself on a cat. He watched a bunch of nature videos and he's like, oh yeah, you see the way cats stalk their prey? I want to be like that. My Michael's be a predator like a cat. Nah, it's not scary. The mask isn't scary. They completely took all the menace out of the face for the main mask. There's a weird bug-eyed alien kind of chubby face Michael in this movie, and then there's a CGI Michael Myers mask. You didn't hear me wrong there. They actually used a CGI mask. How hard is it to make a usable mask? It doesn't seem that hard. I mean, 1978 Halloween, it was made for pennies and they were able to find a mask. You can't come up with a mask, you're gonna use a computer generated mask for the most important mask of all time. just does not make sense. It's offensive to horror fans, and it didn't work. None of these masks work, and that is why it is number 1 on my list. So like I said, be sure to comment down below which mask you think is the worst. Did I insult you? Do you like some of these masks? Be sure to let me know. And like I said, be sure to subscribe if you have not already so you can keep up with the channel and get all the fun content I got coming your way. But other than that, thanks for checking this video out. I hope you have a great day. I'm Nate for natemareflix saying that's a wrap.